Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the London session. Happy New Week. I hope your weekend was amazing. Yep. So we all know that last week was amazing, apparently, right? Amazing. I think for me, last week was actually quite tough. The trades I was taking last week were unlike the trades, were unlike the way I used to actually trade. I'm used to entering a trade and leaving it so that it goes into take profit. But last week, I've just been entering trade, and the trades are going back from, meaning profits to going back to stop loss. I did that for like 4 times last week, 4 times, like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It was only Monday, it was only Wednesday that I took profit. So every other day, I was looking at profits, and then price was immediately tanking back down, and it was crazy though. All right, so this week we're going to quickly run through the analysis and set the expectation for the week. Also, we'll look at the macros that's happening for this week so that we know exactly which day we might be having a news that might affect our trade. So in that case, the first thing I wanted to see is I wanted to know that NASDAQ is selling like crazy. If you see, NASDAQ has been selling for the last, see, this is daily time frame, right? This is on the daily time frame. Now take a look. See all the red candle. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. For the last 10 days, NASDAQ has been selling. Like from this up right here, NASDAQ has been selling. And that is something, honestly. That's something. So what we need to look out for today is that since this is the daily time frame here, NASDAQ is potentially right now in the let's call it an area of interest, a daily area of interest. Although the best area of interest for daily on the daily time frame is right here. You see at the bottom here. So meaning that there's still a chance the NASDAQ might keep selling until it gets to this level. Because from here, NASDAQ should get a better support from buyers in this level. And otherwise, if the escalation is happening, keeps on, going on, then we might be seeing NASDAQ selling more and more to the downside into one of these demand zones down here. Which anyway, if that should happen, we just need to be positioned on the selling side of NASDAQ, right? So now though, for us to be able to trade NASDAQ now we need zones. Like now we need zone to trade it from. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the previous thing that we have actually set up. So there was a demand zone we set up here that failed. This one too failed. Then this is the new one. Okay, so this swing low has failed. So most likely now we need to go look out for a new swing low. And another thing is what else do we have? Let's see. Okay, I think that's that. So now that we already mark out all the major things that we need to remove, we've removed them. So first, let's look at the areas of liquidity of last week. Although I would like to even start off with finding out the structure level. So in order to find out the structure level, I like to look at that. Okay, where is the highest points of price right now in these markets that we can see on the screen? Okay, and based on what we can see right now on the screen, you will notice that there is a swing level right here, and this is a swing level. So I'm going to remove this one. So there's a swing level right here, which is still exactly what I have. That's like the highest point of NASDAQ in the current, based on where the current price level is. Now, where's the lowest point of NASDAQ? The lowest point now is being created right now. So until we start to see pullback, we will not assume that this is the lowest point. However, for a 4-hour swing, we just need to look at the recent break of structure. So I'm going to automatically start using this as my swing high. Yeah, as a swing high, and then I'm waiting for the swing low to print, right? So if NASDAQ will print the swing low now, that means that okay, now we can start to see what NASDAQ is going to be doing around that swing high and swing low that we just actually identified. Okay, so now based on where the current market price is, we need to go and look for demand zones to the left. So that means that we need to go and look for a previous area that price moved, properly from. Now, this is where price currently is. I've drawn a demand zone a little bit below it, right? And that means that anyway, I have already identified this level. From this level, actually, we broke a structure to the left, right? Note that this is a 4-hour time frame. So that's why I'm choosing this zone as a demand level, right? I'm choosing this level as a demand level. So, and that's exactly what price is currently doing. Price is currently inside of this zone. So I'm just going to look out for the reaction on this level and see, if we can buy from here. But obviously now I think that buying now is going to be a short standby, and selling will be like more of the play for this week. And below this, the next one is exactly this one right here. So if NASDAQ fail here, I'm going to go and wait here again for another potential buy, and hopefully we can get some sort of opportunity. So in terms of supply and demand zones, or zones in general, I already identified 2 levels that I can be buying from. So the only thing now is that I need to find levels that I can be selling from. And since NASDAQ started selling from the top anyway, so that means that when we come to selling, I'm interested in selling from where we were selling from initially. So I can wait somewhere around here for selling NASDAQ, right? So I'm just going to call that supply level. So anytime that NASDAQ should return into this level, then I will potentially think that, okay, NASDAQ should potentially start selling again from there, because it was previously selling from that zone. It was consolidating in that level, and then it started to sell from that level afterwards. Now though, what I want to see, I want to mark out like our levels, So I'm on 15 minutes time frame now. I turn on the session break. I want to identify my Asian high, my Asian low, my previous day high, and my previous day low, right? So in that case, what I'm going to do now is, this is Monday, right? Now I have to go to Friday and identify where is the highest point that price reached on Friday. And ladies and gents, this is the highest point that price reached on Friday, this level. Now let's identify where is the lowest point that price reached on Friday, and that's going to be our previous day low. And this is the level right here. So the first thing you're going to notice is that NASDAQ has already taken the previous day low already, right? The previous day low has already been taken out, and it was, even the previous day low was inside an Asian range. That's another thing to note. And so with that happened, so that means that potentially now what we can see happening again is Asian low. You notice right now that our price has already taken the Asian low. You see? So we've taken 2 levels now. Previous day low has been taken, which is last week low, which is the low of Friday. Then the Asian high, Asian low has also been taken. So now that Asian low is taken, previous day low is taken, price is inside a demand zone. There's a big chance that from this demand zone, NASDAQ will start buying, right? And potentially trade a little bit to the upside and start to go down again if it wants. So even though we're not going to trade this this session, but we've set up like a potential, activity for NASDAQ. So NASDAQ potentially from right here is going to go all the way, go back, maybe they even take the Asian high. Then when it comes to selling NASDAQ, I think on the 15 minutes, these are like good areas to wait. This area is nested above the previous day high level, and also a little bit above. So I might even delete this one I drew on the 4-hour. Yeah, because this level is looking much better than yeah, so this level looks more better. So in this case, this could be a immediate level to start looking for seller's reaction. And if this level should fail, obviously the next level is the one above it, which is here. But let's check it out on 1 hour and even see, because sometimes the level can make sense on 15 minutes, but it might not make sense on the 1 hour. All right, so let me just turn off the session breaks. So I'm trying to identify potential selling points, selling levels for NASDAQ. And the way I can do that is that anywhere price was previously balanced before we have a sharp move downward, that's going to be like an area where resistance is, okay? So, and this level right here is going to be the first area that I am going to be taking. And it's a perfect area because it also nests into a zone level to the left. This area or the previous day high, right? So this and the previous day high is basically going to be areas that I would be looking for selling from. Okay, so that means that if I'm going to be selling, price has to be in this level. Okay, and this level or the level above the previous day high, which will also give me the best trading opportunity. Now though, what if the objective of NASDAQ is going to change in the like already? So that's now another thing. We need to kind of like read data from some external sources this week to make sure that because last week I was shocked that NASDAQ was selling all the way. Like if I had knew that NASDAQ would be selling a lot, I would have at least positioned for all of the sell to like, you know. But anyway, that's the thing about trading. You never know what is going to really happen, right? But sometimes there are some indications that actually give you in that, you know, there's some things that happen that it gives you the indication that okay, this is potentially what might be happening. Like being able to interpret the news that is happening around the war of Israel, Iran, US right now, and also what's happening with the oil and within companies as well, especially the top 100 US companies. So that's going to inform us on what's going to happen with our NASDAQ or at least the indices in general. So this week I'm also going to try and figure out how to find some fundamental information that can actually help me to understand the direction for the week or the direction, long-term direction of NASDAQ in general. So that I'm going to be doing some research to understand for this week. All right, and with that said, I think that's going to be the end of the analysis this morning. Obviously, we're not trading right now. We're coming back to trade by New York session. So that means that for now, NASDAQ has now created like a new swing, you know, this year and year. So we just need to know that if NASDAQ is going to start pulling back from this level, like so we can just put our swing low over here and then start to see it creating like a high, a low, or a low, or a continuation of a sell. And that way we'll know what to do. All right, guys and girls, let me even mark it right now because I think this might actually be the swing low already. So if this is the swing low, that will actually make sense. I'll call it 4-hour swing low. So that means that we're dealing with this high and this 4-hour swing low right now. And if that happens to be the case, now we know how to trade because for every swing high and swing low, price will always retrace back, you know, to let's say at least 50% of it, right? Maybe then continue selling from there. So if that should happen, then we're gonna check it out and all. All right, guys and girls, let's have an amazing day, and we're gonna come back at the New York session to live trade. Hopefully we have opportunity today that we're gonna trade live. Happy and safe trading, everybody, and I'll see you very soon at New York session, and have a nice day.